And we want to bring in NewsNation political and economic contributor Mick Mulvaney. He's also President Trump's former acting chief of staff and former OMB director under Trump. So good morning to you, and thank you for joining us on this very important weekend as we watch to see what's happening there at Mar-A-Lago. Good to see you, Mick.
Laura, good morning. Merry Christmas.
Good morning and Merry Christmas to you, too. All right, so let's get started with this. People talking about how key President Trump's support to securing any deal between Russia and Ukraine is. I want to know what you think about that. Obviously, a lot of people think it is key. And also another topic we want to ask you about is Venezuela. But let's start with what's happening at Mar-A-Lago.
Yeah, well, clearly there's no deal without American support, without Trump administration support. I mean, it's just not possible otherwise. The Europeans have not been able to sort of step up on their own to support Ukraine, say, without American support. So it's just a complete fallacy to think there's going to be a deal here without the Americans involved. In fact, I think the more likely outcome is a deal without the Europeans being involved. That being said, Laura, maybe I'm just not as much as of the holiday spirit as everybody else. But I just don't see much progress being made here. I read some reporting over the weekend that the deal was 90% done, except for some territory and then the security guarantees for Ukraine. To me, that means it's 90% not done.
Yeah.
The bottom line here is that you make an excellent point about these continued attacks on Kyiv over the weekend, that it doesn't look like Moscow is interested in ending the war. And in fact, I don't think anybody believes they're interested yet in ending the war. And until they are, the war is simply not going to end. So look, there's been some great conversations, no question. I know that Witkoff has worked hard. I think Jared Kushner's involved as well. There's been some good conversations. But there's been a lot of talk now going back, several months to Alaska with no real change. So I think we can start to be a lot more optimistic when we see things actually changing on the ground.
Yeah, and while I have you, want to ask you about these steps that we're taking. I mean, we do continue to hear about these talks that are happening either at the White House or in Mar-a-Lago. I mean, it is significant that something is happening, right?
Sure, it absolutely is. You're not going to get a deal without people talking. But there's been a lot of talk, Laura. How many times now have we heard from the administration that they're, this close to a deal? And I don't feel like we're that close to a deal. It doesn't look on the ground like we're that close to a deal. Again, if there's things going on behind the scenes, I hope that is the case. But I go back to what you and I have talked about now for months, which is Russia is not going to agree to a deal at a negotiating table until they feel like they get at least a good deal at the table that they get on the field. And right now it looks in all way, shape, or form like they think they're going to get a better deal by continuing this war.
All right. Well, while I have you, I also wanted to ask you about Venezuela, as I mentioned at the top, about this Venezuela-linked oil tanker that is more than 6 days into being chased by U.S. authorities through the Atlantic Ocean. Now, this was sanctioned for allegedly shipping oil to U.S.-designated terrorist organizations. And last weekend, the vessel made this big U-turn instead of allowing crews to board. Now, it's racing away from Venezuela at full speed. So how is this latest incident impacting the ongoing feud as we watch it continue to play out, between the U.S. and Venezuela? What do you make of what we're seeing here?
It's fascinating to watch. Keep in mind, these are sanctioned vessels. It's sanctioned oil. And I, for one, have sort of like to see the administration backing up sanctions with actual action. So often, I think in the country in the last 10, 20 years, we have drawn these red lines or laid down these rules, sanctions, and then not backed them up. And the Trump administration essentially is saying, look, we're going to put sanctions on this. And if you violate sanctions, we are going to do something about it. I also think here that one of the things that are not being paid nearly close enough attention to is the link to what this might really be about, which I think this intervention now in Venezuela probably has as much to do with Cuba as it does with Venezuela. Keep in mind, Venezuela is a large supplier of cheap oil to the Cuban regime. And if that flow stops, it really, really weakens the leadership in Havana. And if you sit down and think about what this new sort of vigorous enforcement of the Monroe Doctrine, that the doctrine, it's almost 200 years old now, that says we are going to take care of the Western Hemisphere, then going after Cuba is going to be a big piece and part of that. So yes, this is Venezuela. It's about regime change. I get all of that, but it might be about Cuba as much as anything else.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.